God has been good to us through the gifts and the ministry of Don Moen. I'm holding his latest CD. Don was asked to lead worship in one of the first Hosanna music albums. Do you remember that? Give Thanks. The project became one of their most popular recordings ever and a benchmark for the genre. It went gold, nearing platinum certification. Don eventually joined the staff of Integrity. He served as president of Integrity Music and executive vice president and creative director for Integrity Media. 20 years of investment there. He's doing something brand new. We're going to find out all about it. Don Moen, please come and join us.
Thank you.
Now, I promised to ask this. You're here, first of all, from Nashville. Husband, father of 5.
That's right, yeah.
We're going to find out you're all over the globe these days. Who are some of the names that we love to hear, whose songs we love to sing, that you help to discover and produce?
Well, a lot of the artists at Integrity, they started as worship leaders and songwriters, really. Paul Balash, who wrote Above All with Lenny LeBlanc. Lincoln Brewster, Israel Houghton. These are all folks. Darlene Zschech and Hillsong. I remember going over there in '94 and hearing "Shout to the Lord" for the first time, and I came back to Mobile, Alabama then, and I said, I don't care what song is on my next album, this song is going to be on there because I think this is going to be a song that the whole world sings anyway. So I've been very blessed to be associated with a lot of great songs, a lot of great worship leaders.
What a rich chapter. I'm sure we'll come back to it. Integrity puts you on the musical map for most people, but we have kind of a warm fuzzy when it comes to Terry Law, his story. Many of our viewers now have in their hands the power of praise and worship, and you're in here, as you know, Don, on lots of pages. It's interesting that Terry says in one chapter here, he says, Don and Jim, that's Jim Gilbert, were God's voice to me in stereo. In a whole emerging concept of praise and worship with a healing ministry that went all over the world.
That's right, yeah. Well, Terry was, I remember the day after his wife, was killed in a car accident, and all this whole process, what he went through, how God healed his heart through praise and worship. When he came to me and said, Don, we're going to change all of our songs now and make them praise and worship, and it's like I wasn't quite sure what it was because there wasn't a genre yet of praise and worship. It was just beginning, but
it's hard for some listening to that to understand that.
Well, we did a lot of, with Living Sound, we did a lot of great evangelical songs and missionary evangelism songs, and that was worship. But there's this more of a personal experience with vertical
intimacy with Jesus.
Yeah. And Terry just he said, this is all I want to do right now, and I wasn't sure what it was, but he kept pushing me out of my comfort zone, and I wasn't a great piano player then, and he kept saying, get up there at the piano and lead us in worship, and I was just we bring the sacrifice of praise. I was just learning. After I was humiliated in front of about 250,000 people, I actually developed a style.
And did it ever catch? Wow. Do you mind giving us your slice of a fascinating chapter of your history? I think heaven looks down on this as a real a marker. Your ministry behind the Iron Curtain. To communist youth who thought they were getting, I think, an American rock band, and got something very different. Let's see the date. Was that 72?
That was 72, October, I think, of 72. But yes, we went in, and of course, if you know Terry, and he's never been shy about going into dangerous places, and so that's all I did for 15 years with Terry. And we went to this place and realized quickly that we were in something that could get us in trouble, and it was a communist youth club and
fundraising
fundraising event for the Youth Communist Party, and university crowd, and and we started singing gospel music, and Terry got up, and of course, I always told Terry, I'm a lover and you're a fighter. He has to antagonize people, but he got up, and rather than be diplomatic about presenting the gospel, he just laid it on the line and said, this is the way it is. God sent his son Jesus to die on the cross. And as soon as he finished preaching, we didn't see Terry anymore. He was taken
away.
Yeah, down these long flight of stairs. And so we finished the concert, and then we were all called to the stairway as well. And we were told the organizers weren't too amused at what we just did, but
and yet the impact of what happened.
Yeah.
What did God's Spirit do from your perspective? I mean, you must have been terrified.
A little bit.
You just lost your fearless leader.
Yeah, that's right.
And you realize the venue you're in.
Yeah, right. Well, when that happens, I think we began to worship. We thought, well, we're in trouble anyway, so let's just...
We may die here, but let's go out
just
praising.
lift our hands and begin to praise God. So we did what we were sent there to do. And I think there is... there is that dimension when you begin to worship, as Terry would speak about. It confuses and confounds the enemy, and that's what we did, and it made an impact, and that's where Carol Cardinal of Wautewa heard about it.
Future Pope John Paul II.
That's right. And he said, "Who are these crazy guys doing? Challenging the Youth Communist Party." So, those are exciting years, and when I traveled with Terry, all those 15 years. There never was a dull moment. And I told Terry, I'm not going to the Soviet Union with you anymore because you always antagonize the KGB. I think we can negotiate with them, Terry. But he goes, no, I'm going to tell them what we're going to do.
Well, and some of the fruit of that, of course, and we've mentioned this before, is the invitation from John Paul to sing at the Vatican, 60,000 in the audience. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there was a tremendous opportunity that God gave the ministry of Living Sound during those days, and the contacts that we made and the favor that God gave us. I mean, it was little did we know when we were singing in Poland in 72 and 73, 74, right in there, that God was going to connect us with the future Pope, and invite the group to come and sing there. So, yeah. Tremendous experience. I've been very blessed.
Terry says in the book, he had to let you go. He recognized God was calling you to something more?
I remember the day he came to me and he said, that's right. He said, Don, if you want to stay with me, I was his musical director and helping run the ministry, but he said, you have a place here for the next 40 years if you want it, but in my heart, I know God has more for you to do. That's what he said. I know God has more. And so you pray about it and let me know what you think. And that was scary. I left after 15 years. I left Terry. I'm still on his board. He's still my dear friend. And but I stepped out into I didn't know what. And it was...
So it wasn't Integrity right away?
No. I was a couple of years before I went to Integrity Music. So there were 2 years in there where we, I remember my wife said to me, you don't laugh anymore. You used to be so funny. And we had then 2 kids, 2 cars, a house, and no job. And I said, there's nothing really funny to me these days. But those are the times when in my heart, I knew God was calling me to do something more. I knew he wanted me to write music. And anyway, those are, whenever you launch out into something new, it can be scary.
There's a waiting room there usually.
Absolutely,
isn't
yeah,
there?
and I don't like that.
Who does?
No, I don't like the waiting room.
20 years with Integrity. How many years with Living Sound?
I was 15 years. That's pretty much my life. 15 years with Terry Law and 20 years with Integrity Music.
I mean, you are a man of integrity. You hold the course, you stick with your investment. This new direction is a little risky again.
Yeah. Well, I was so blessed to have a family at Integrity for 20 years. Still my dear friends, and yet in my heart, toward the end of my time there, I hadn't been paying attention to my writing. A lot of people were shocked to find out that I was the president of Integrity Music because they just saw Don Moen as a worship leader, but I had this other job of creating products for Integrity and finding the songs, and I loved that, but it got to be pretty administrative, and I
You're
couldn't.
a music man.
Yeah.
And How many instruments do you play?
Oh, gosh.
Because I see in the disc you've got a violin in here.
Yeah, well...
You're on piano on the cover.
Well, my mother forced all of us kids to take 6 years of piano. I then studied violin, which is the only instrument I ever really played well. I was trained classically, and then trombone is my minor, and of course guitar, and a bunch of... I can fake it on a lot of instruments.
You are a walking orchestra.
I can fake it really well on a lot of instruments.